minute version can be found on my Telegram channel. The link is in the description. As always, please videos from their operations in the Kursk region. What you see here is helmet cam footage of Ukrainian paratroopers from the 82nd Air Assault Brigade conducting an ambush on Russian vehicles, including a small truck and a car. After the ambush, several Russians were taken prisoner, but this had to be cut out of this edit. You can find the full unedited video on my Telegram channel, however. It looks like the Ukrainians conducted their ambush with small arms only, and no rocket launchers or heavy machine guns were used. This was not the only recent ambush on Russian troops in the Kursk region, and you might remember that in my last upload, I also reported on a similar event. A reminder to check out the video if you haven't already. In addition, a video was also released showing a unit of Ukrainian special forces clearing out Russian positions in a forested area, also reportedly in Kursk, Russia. These units are generally called DRGs and are reconnaissance and sabotage units tasked with disrupting Russian elements behind enemy lines. Some of the operatives were even wearing full ghillie suits, something we've only seen from Russian forces before. DRG stands for Diversionary Reconnaissance Groups, and these units have played a significant role in Ukraine's invasion of Russia so far, as they were among the first to set foot on Russian territory. They now continue to operate deeper and deeper inside the country. But that's not all. It seems their operational style has sparked fear among regular Russian troops, as there have been reports that they were wearing Russian armbands and other identification symbols to disguise their presence. The pro-Russian outlet Ryba even shared a post warning Russian troops about them. It reads as follows: Ukrainian special forces are using red tactical bands, armbands to organize ambushes and operations in rear areas. We ask Russian armed forces personnel to be extremely vigilant to avoid running into the enemy disguising themselves as their own. Such actions by the enemy are logical, as this is one of the direct purposes of these units, to operate in the rear, and given that the defense line is not built up in the Kursk region, the AFU resorts to such types of camouflage. The main goal of the enemy's tactics is to increase the chances of survival of their groups and remain unnoticed. Move through populated areas without drawing attention to themselves, both from civilians and Russian military. In addition, by dressing in Russian military uniforms and gaining trust, the AFU has more opportunities to be the first to engage in combat. But it seems that not only covert Ukrainian special forces are their own military assets as well. According to reports released in connection with this video, a Russian helicopter allegedly fired on its own vehicles. Russia, however, released the video nonetheless, claiming its helicopter was engaging Ukrainian troops. As proof to counter this claim, Ukraine released several pictures showing the vehicles afterward. This Ukrainian drone was not just lifting this rifle to deliver it to some random Ukrainian soldier. The rifle was attached to the drone to test the concept. Attaching rifles to drones is an experimental approach that has gained attention in recent years, particularly in the context of modern warfare and asymmetric combat. The idea is to enhance the capabilities of drones, traditionally used for surveillance or airstrikes, by equipping them with firearms to directly engage targets on the ground. This turtle tank was shown off by the Russian Ministry of Defense. Pay attention to the flag on the barrel and the inscription on the hull. Yes, you saw right. This Ukrainian drone video shows the very same tank disabled and stuck in a trench after a failed mechanized assault. Later it got destroyed by Ukrainian FPV drones. After a longer period of small unit-sized pushes into Ukrainian-held territory, Russia has recently started to use larger mechanized assaults of platoon to company size again. And by larger, I mean compared to the ones we saw over the last couple of months, especially during Russia's Kharkiv offensive. This drone video filmed by the Ukrainian 79th Air Assault Brigade on the Novomykhailivka-Vuhledar axis shows one of these assaults that was repelled by Ukrainian mines, artillery fire and FPV drones. From the footage, we can see that the attack conducted by tanks and MTLBs was stopped, but this was not the only recent Russian push in that area. In fact, there have been a lot of attempts to break through Ukrainian lines northeast of Pereskoviivka, Kostiantynivka, and on a broader scale towards Vodian. Geolocated footage on the UA control map shows that a huge amount of Russian equipment was lost, especially in the area southeast of Kostiantynivka and in the many fields east of Vodian. This armored Russian column was spotted a little bit further north as it was passing through Krasnohorivka, a town currently under Russian control. FPV drones dispatched by the Shadow UAV unit stopped the column and destroyed several of the vehicles. Russian soldiers can be seen leaving the scene afterwards. You can find the Shadow unit on Telegram. Just search for them there. They frequently release high-quality drone videos and can be supported with donations. Since their videos get reposted all over the web, I at least wanted to mention this. This Russian turtle tank with a mine plow in front of it was hit by 2 FPV drones nearly simultaneously and detonated in an open field. And this Russian tank here was reportedly stopped by a precise direct artillery hit. After the hit, the tank kept driving for a little while before it stopped. Here, a Russian BMP drove directly onto a Ukrainian mine. The vehicle was stopped as well and caught fire afterward. It seems that Russia tried to turn Ukraine's Kursk offensive partially to their own advantage in the east by ramping up offensive operations on the eastern front, even though, according to Ukrainian sources, they had to pull troops from this sector. Politico reported that Russia occupied the villages of Zhelem and Olivka and made advances in New York, Kresnohorivka, Mykolaievka and Zhurevka in Donetsk. Some Ukrainian sources have reported that the situation has worsened for Ukrainian forces in the east since the Kursk incursion began. According to Ivan Sekach, spokesperson for Ukraine's 110th Mechanized Brigade, things have become worse on their part of the front and they have been receiving even less ammunition than before while the Russians are pushing. So far, however, Ukraine has still managed to prevent a major Russian breakthrough in that area and continues to inflict heavy losses on Russian mechanized formations, as these videos continue to show. Military experts estimate that Russian forces are currently about 14 kilometers from Pokrovsk. Meanwhile, Russian units are advancing near the town of Toretsk, according to Ukrainian military reports. Geolocated footage analyzed by the ISW suggests that Russian troops are moving towards the small town of Sezline and have secured ground on the southern edge of the settlement of Pivnish, which lies east of Toretsk. Currently, it strongly appears that one of the main goals of the Russian military is to attempt to encircle Ukrainian forces east of the city of Pokrovsk. This archival footage, filmed by a now-deceased Russian drone pilot, shows a Russian mechanized assault consisting of 2 BMPs in the Marica sector. One of the BMPs got hit but was not immediately destroyed. It kept driving for some time and even avoided another projectile aimed at it. However, it seems the engine was damaged and the BMP had to stop. The infantry dismounted and continued their assault on foot. What happened next is unclear since the footage ended shortly after. However, it looks like the soldiers had quite a lot of open terrain to cross. I recently stumbled upon this footage and found it interesting because this amount of detail is uncommon for most Russian drone videos. Overall, it can be said that Russia continues to pay a high price for their territorial advances in the east. After it seemed like their offensive actions had slowed down recently, the Kursk offensive prompted them to ramp up their efforts again. This truck is still partly working after being hit by what was reported as an FPV drone. Pretty robust for such an old piece of what some would consider scrap metal. After motorbikes and e-scooters, now normal bikes are also a means of transportation, as it seems. This is a joke, of course. Here we see a mechanized assault conducted by Ukrainian Bradleys in the Donetsk region. We can see the Bradleys advancing towards Russian-held positions while engaging them with their 25mm Bushmaster cannons. This is the drone video of a Bradley assault I already uploaded a few weeks ago. Back then, everything was shared from a camera strapped to one of the Bradleys. Did you saw it? If not, just check out my latest uploads on my channel. I am eager to know if you can find it. The Bradleys also dropped off infantry that joined the fight with small arms fire. If you watched till now, I once again wanted to take the time to say thank you. You really are the backbone of this channel and I am very glad to have you here. If you have not already, please help me out by leaving a like and a comment regarding my work. It really helps me out a lot and motivates me to create these kinds of videos. I know many of you are grown-up adult silent viewers who just want to inform yourselves, but sadly YouTube requires your likes and comments so that the videos do not get buried. It is just a small click for you, but a huge help for me. Let's make this happen so more people can see this video and inform themselves about this war. Here we can see a Bradley totally lighting up a Russian position in another tree line on the Donetsk front, most likely in the vicinity of the previous assault. The M242 Bushmaster chain gun that the Bradley uses is a 25mm autocannon known for its reliability and versatility, capable of firing a variety of ammunition types, including armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds. It provides the Bradley with formidable firepower against both infantry and light armored vehicles. This chain gun's high rate of fire and precision make it an essential component of the Bradley's effectiveness, allowing it to engage multiple targets quickly and efficiently in diverse combat scenarios. One of these scenarios is visible right here on the screen as a Russian BMP gets continuously hit by the Bradley's high explosive munitions until it is finally stopped and destroyed. Looks like the BMP tried to get away, but all its efforts were in vain since it got caught in an open field without any obstacles limiting the Bradley's field of fire. This was not the first encounter Russian armor had with the Bradley, as multiple other videos released on this channel before have shown. Perhaps the time for a Bradley versus Russian armor compilation video has come, or what do you think? Like this video if you want to see one. Because of all this, it is no wonder that the Bradley has become one of the most sought-after high-value targets for Russian drone operators and artillery, as this video of a Bradley coming under an intense Russian artillery barrage shows. Here, a drone captured itself being hit by an incoming FPV drone from behind. Shooting down small drones with advanced anti-air defense systems is possible, but it is often not cost-effective in most cases. These systems are designed for larger, more valuable targets, and using them against small, inexpensive drones can be an inefficient use of resources. This is especially true when the cost of the missile or system used far outweighs the value of the drone being targeted. To address this issue, militaries are increasingly turning to more specialized and cost-efficient counter-drone technologies, such as directed energy weapons, to neutralize these threats effectively without depleting valuable resources. However, these approaches are still highly experimental, and we have yet to see their effective implementation. For now, the best countermeasure against drones is self-propelled anti-aircraft guns, such as the German-made Jeopard you see here. These systems are highly effective in neutralizing drones due to their rapid rate of fire and mobility, allowing them to engage multiple aerial targets quickly and efficiently. The Jeopard, in particular, is equipped with twin 35mm Oerlikon cannons and advanced radar systems, making it capable of tracking and destroying drones before they can pose a significant threat. While not a perfect solution, these anti-aircraft guns offer a practical and proven method for drone defense on the battlefield. Of course, for the soldiers on the ground or people under drone threats, it doesn't matter if the drone gets intercepted by gunfire, lasers, jammers, or expensive missiles. We should not forget that, in the end, human lives should be protected first, not monetary resources. Here, a Russian boat successfully demines a sea mine using a plow mounted at the front. The operation is a success, and the soldiers on board are visibly happy and proud of the outcome, celebrating their achievement. Here, a Ukrainian drone intercepts a Russian one by using a net. This approach was tested by NATO some years ago and was one of the first methods of drone-on-drone interception that did not involve crashing drones into each other, as seen here. This drone tries to knock a surveillance drone out of the sky. In the not-so-distant past, such an occurrence was considered rare, but not so much anymore as these maneuvers have become more and more common. It took 2 tries, but after the second hit, the drone lost control and started to fall to the ground. Here, 2 cannibalized BMP-1 cannons are used as direct fire weapons on a testing range. Cannibalizing weapon systems is not uncommon, and in Syria, for example, this was done quite often. This Caesar howitzer was spotted and observed by a Russian reconnaissance drone as it was conducting a fire mission against Russian targets. After a few shots, the system tried to relocate to avoid detection and potential counter-battery fire. Like many of the previously shown Russian air defense systems, it chose a nearby tree line to conceal itself. The Russian drone, however, managed to keep track of the howitzer's movement, and it was engaged. Later, something burning was shown within the tree line, and while the final visual confirmation that it was the Caesar is missing, many pro-Ukrainian sources have admitted its loss here. While I showed the bombing of an unmanned Ukrainian sea vessel by a Russian plane earlier in this update, the best way to intercept these vessels out in the open sea, far away from all naval assets, seems to be by circling them with helicopters and engaging them with either onboard cannons or machine guns. Here we have such an example, even though it also seems the vessel was engaged by shipboard weapon systems as well. This multifaceted approach ensures a higher probability of neutralizing the threat efficiently. Helicopters provide a quick response capability and can cover vast ocean areas that ships cannot reach quickly. They offer greater mobility and can often operate in adverse weather conditions while quickly transition from surveillance to engagement roles. That's why the US military trained its door gunners to intercept unmanned systems via helicopter years ago, as this clip some of you might have seen on this channel before shows. This training involves rigorous drills to enhance precision and effectiveness in identifying and neutralizing unmanned threats. In this case, it was not a sea vessel but a simple drone. I would consider shooting down drones this way more difficult compared to unmanned sea vessels. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. Not from Ukraine, but certainly related to Ukraine, is this video. It shows a group of private military contractors on a ship being targeted by an unmanned kamikaze boat. The armed guards observed a drone boat launched at them by Yemeni Houthi rebels and start to engage it with small arms fire in an attempt to intercept it before it can hit the hull of their vessel. I say that this is related to Ukraine because the approach of using USVs as kamikaze boats was mostly proven in Ukraine, even though Iran has also experimented with this for a long time. Additionally, it has been reported that one of the guards here was actually Ukrainian. Houthi rebels in Yemen have increasingly employed unmanned surface vessels as a significant component of their maritime strategy, targeting commercial and military vessels in the Red Sea. The men needed a few shots, but in the end, they succeeded. A problem for Russian troops.
Could you give...
Ukraine is up to something. Well, actually, 3 things, which is an interesting coincidence. You see, symbols of war are ubiquitous. On a practical level, they help armies avoid tragic cases of friendly fire. On a less tangible level, they are also the visual representation of a rallying cry. For the invasion of Ukraine, Russia adopted the letter Z. For the invasion of Russia, Ukraine adopted the triangle. However, an alternative way to see it is as a delta, the Greek equivalent of the letter D, but also a common shorthand among mathematicians for change, as in an operation designed to change the direction of the war. But it is also fitting because there are 3 lines-on-maps-based reasons why the Kursk offensive could swing bargaining power in favor of Ukraine. Thus, today, we will discuss each of them: a shift in the military balance, destabilization of the Kremlin, and raising Russian costs, and put them in the broader context of the war. Oh, and we will also touch on big bridges, nuclear power plants, and the major signals that Russia has sent by building new trenches, which has somehow escaped the Western media conversation. Plus, we will get to that detailed map of what Ukraine is trying to do operationally. But we begin with the military balance, as that is the most straightforward strategic prong. In a classic lines-on